Hello, Roger Cuthbert here. Welcome to the Houston District Photographic Society's In Isolation competition. It's week 10. The theme this week is Telling the Time. We've had 9 rounds so far with a variety of winners. Let's see what happens this week. Our guest judges this week are another double act in the guise of Rosie and Andrew Carpenter. Their comments are spoken by themselves. Over to you, Rosie.
A superb set of images. We thoroughly enjoyed all of them. Judging a far from easy task. The creativity, imagination and originality of the entries was outstanding. We got it down to a final 4, then 3, and stalled. We did eventually reach a decision, but so close. Please bear in mind our judging experience is very limited. We have given the enjoyable task our best shots, but it is just our opinion.
11 hours, 11 minutes. A creative idea, but also a trifle confusing. The grainy greyness adds mood, but the overall darkness is, for us, rather heavy-handed. The white splodge in the centre looks a bit careless. A great idea and worth exploring further. Accurate to within a few hours or so. Possibly a light box background. Pleasing colours and the foregrounds nicely lit. The composition with 2 matching diagonals is nice. There's a few censor marks that could have been dealt with, but crucially, the 2 key elements are very sharp.
At Hampton Court, a very out of the ordinary clock. The distortion of the circle into an ellipse is rather nice. Exposure and lighting competent, sharp in detail, and very well executed.
Back in Time. A very graphic image with excellent composition, well constructed and thought through. The background carefully chosen and is very apt. Super sharp, a simple and effective image.
Dandelion clocks. An almost desaturated image. Background nicely out of focus. Centre of flower head sufficiently sharp. Maybe the white blobs emerging at the top of the image could have been dumbed down. They are a little distracting, taking attention from the subject. Composition is very pleasing. Egg timer. An imaginative and intriguing image. At first glance, the back of a balding man's head. The egg timer illusion could perhaps have been improved by a narrower pinch point. Don't know what's been used to simulate the sand, but it's very effective.
Cogs. Sharp and a very tight crop, leaving enough to capture the essence of the image. A slight feeling of overexposure here, and maybe the removal of the chain holder to the right of the winder would have helped. The lower corners and the sides don't look right. I have to admit this one is mine, and I straightened it in Photoshop and forgot to check the sides, which Photoshop had filled in. Oops.
Dandelion clock. Bright, almost dazzling colours. Good positioning in the square format. Slightly blotchy background. Perhaps also a little oversaturated. Lovely viewpoint, and the floating seeds are a nice touch.
Keeping an eye on the time. A composite image, and a very original, creative and inspired one too. The lower lashes and the clock are piercingly sharp. The idea and the execution of it absolutely superb.
Entertainment in times past. A reenactment image, Kentwell, perhaps. I'm sure putting your cuppa on the board is against the rules, even in the first Elizabethan era. A good picture, however, especially as lighting not under the control of the author. Cannot quite get what it has to do with telling the time, but hey-ho, a very pleasing image nonetheless.
Nearly 4 p.m. This is perhaps a pendulum swinging in front of the clock face. Also a very striking image. Uncertain as to scale, enormous or tiny. The colours really work well. Exposure's good, intriguing and interesting shot. Sands of Time. The colour palette's just right. Undoubtedly taken with the help of a light box and frontal light too. Reflections, lighting and grounding well handled. A simple and effective image.
Persistence of time. Shades of Dali here. So much going on in this image. Distorted clocks everywhere, and an amazing amount of work and skill put into this, and to great effect. The attention to detail is superb. The more one looks, the more one sees. Lighting great, composition brilliant, concept out of this world.
Station Cafe Clock. A simple image with pleasant colours. I love the number font typeface. Wonder what it's called. Effective side lighting. No bells or whistles. A good straight shot.
Stand 2 in 5 minutes. Another beautifully constructed image. The vignette corners and the slightly skewed map, the subtly blended colours, detail and sharp. Lighting very well controlled, a skillful piece of work. Telling the time. It could be difficult. The concept excellent. A damaged timepiece, hands removed, but the reflection still has at least one hand. Panzerab's Slate of Hands spring to mind. The rest of the picture is rather too dark, hard to discern what is in the background. Not at all sure the right-hand side adds anything. Is that a door handle in the deep shadows, top right? Love the rich brown of the clock face rim.
Telling time travel. Well, a well-controlled, nicely composed image. The ghosts are shadowy, yet sharp, entirely believable and perfectly placed. It's very effective and pleasantly spine-tingling.
A clockmaker's art. Circular structure and a very tight crop with minimal keyline is pleasing. Well put together, but the eyelashes being in front of the cogs is a little disturbing. The idea is a cracker and warrants further exploration.
Time for ice cream. Exposure of the young lady is exactly right, but not rude. Maybe toning down the bright white shirt button and removing the stripe above her head would make for less distractions, but that's nitpicking. Composition and timing excellent. A well-seen, candid shot. But telling the time? Tomato time. A fun idea. Everyone needs a tomato clock. The lighting here, a bit of a challenge. Black pan, black surface, shiny handle, shiny rim. Far from easy. The diagonal pan handle is nicely placed though.
Wine o'clock. Shades of the previous image. Similar idea and similarly enjoyable but different execution. Again, the lighting is a challenge. Initially, some of the glasses to me seem to be small skulls. the highlights and shadows on the rims and bases giving a confusing distortion. The bottle colours are bright and very appetising. Glad to see that they already have my name on them. 1 o'clock seems to get earlier these days. Endgame. We put 7 images on our short list. Back in Time, Egg Timer, Keeping an Eye on the Time, Sands of Time, Persistence of Time, and Stand To in 5 minutes. Then down to our final 4. Back in Time, Keeping an Eye on Time, Persistence of Time, and Stand To in 5 minutes. Reluctantly removing Back in Time, leaving the top 3. So hard to choose between these 3, but as we have to choose, our winner is Persistence of Time.
And Persistence of Time, as you can see, is by Lorraine Green. Well, there we are. Well done to Lorraine for winning this week. Our thanks to Rosie and Andrew for judging this week and for providing their own comments. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned. There's a blooper or 2.
Stand To in 5 minutes.
I'll let the answer machine take it.
Put the phone in the other room, turn it off, disconnect it.
Might be important. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
5 minutes. Start again.